Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of this 5-part series. Tonight I will be seeing Stranger Things, not the musical. Everyone calls it Stranger Things the musical. It's not a musical. Anyway, I will be seeing Stranger Things at the Phoenix Theatre tonight, and my second show of part 2 will be The Lion King, and I am buzzing for this. I have not seen it in 10 years, since I was 10 years old. And I used to be obsessed with all the behind the scenes videos. I literally knew them by heart, and I'm absolutely buzzing for it because the whole thing is just incredibly done, with the puppetry, the costumes, the look of the whole thing, everything. I can't wait to see it all again, and I'm probably going to be acting like any child would seeing The Lion King for the first time. But I'm really excited for that. But yes, tonight it will be Stranger Things, not the musical. I had a great time last time. I knew I had to make it one of my trips on this week-long venture. So since I am seeing Operation Mincemeat this afternoon, obviously you might recognise my outfit piece for Mincemeat. I will probably be cutting now to when I am actually at the Phoenix Theatre. See you there. So after Operation Mincemeat in the afternoon, I was starving, so I did another Chipotle chip. What can I say? I'm addicted. I also just said chip instead of trip. Wow, I am brain rotted. But then I made it to the Stranger Things Theatre, the Phoenix Theatre. And once again, I loved the theming. I loved the Scoops Ahoy bar, and everything is just so 80s and so Stranger Things. And this is where I was sitting, C2 of the stalls, and it might have been better than my seat before, not gonna lie. It's the interval and it's still light outside. We've got an understudy for Bob and an understudy for Patty. I think that I'm enjoying it more this time. It's just as camp and silly and funny and terrifying as it was. But I think I'm vibing with the story a lot more. I get it. Funny thing that I saw just now is that the play that Joyce is putting on is literally the story. Seeing it the second time, I figured out what this show is. Do you know what I mean? And I'm absolutely loving it. It's so camp. Everything's great, and I will talk about the understudies more later on. It feels really weird that I saw Operation Mincemeat this afternoon because this is not like that at all. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying it from where I'm sitting. Really good seats in front. But yeah, I'll see you afterwards. Got a freaking ice cream. Look at it. And it's got the freaking logo on it. How cool is that? Show's just ended. I'm about to be on my way back to my apartment building. I met this lovely girl from the US, Broadway State, New York City. Also, sorry for getting really excited about the ice cream. Last time I went, the machine wasn't working, so give me that, please. But I will give my thoughts in the morning, especially on the understudies, but I had such a great time. And tomorrow, for part 2 of this journey, which is the part that you're watching right now, it'll be The Lion King. Hey guys, good morning. It's time for show 2 of part 2, The Lion King. I said this, I haven't been in 10 years. And I'm 20 now, and I'm so excited because this was my first West End show, and I watched back the behind the scenes video that I knew by heart when I was a kid, and I started sobbing. This show is so important to me, and I just knew I had to make it part of my trip, so I'm gonna head out. I think I'm gonna go to Waterstones for a bit to read a bit more and have a coffee and some breakfast, and then we'll see where the world takes me. But right now I'll pass you over to Past Elliot, who did a little review of Stranger Things, especially the 2 understudies we had on, so I will pass you over now. Hey guys, it's me cutting in to talk about Stranger Things. I had such a fantastic time. It was just as good as the last time I saw it, and I was sat next to this lovely girl from NYC, and she'd never seen it before. She didn't even know it was a thing until she arrived in London and started booking shows, and she had such a good time. It's always lovely to go to a theatre and watch a show that you have seen that someone else hasn't, and it's so cool to see their reactions to everything. Actually, not gonna lie though, most of it I forgot. But moving on to talk about the cast, because as I said, we had understudy Bob and understudy Patty, so understudy siblings. Once again, though, I do want to talk briefly about the rest of the cast because they are so good. They are so camp, they are so silly. Isabella, who plays young Joyce, just is Winona Ryder. Brenna's just as much of a scumbag, so is Dustin's dad. Eddie's dad is the gayest theatre kid I have ever seen, so yeah, it was just amazing. But I do want to talk about Danny Sykes, who played Bob, and Rhea Naomi, who played Patty for this evening's performance. So weirdly, Danny, similar to what I might have said about Jed Hoyle as Cunningham, I know those two things do not go together, but trust me, I am going to make a comparison. For some reason, like, obviously Bob is this really nerdy kid who runs his own radio show, and I don't know what it is, because Danny's a lot more, he doesn't look like Sean Astin, like, I'm sorry, the guy that they cast originally, who is the main guy, looks exactly like a young Sean Astin, but I digress. Danny was like a really lanky, sort of messy, roughed up hair, sort of nerdy character, and I feel like that really worked for him, and he was fantastic. He was so silly and funny, but when he had to get serious, he could do it. He was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed his performance, and I don't really know how to compare it to the other guy because they were both pretty much on point with who Bob is as a character, and he cares for his sister, and it's just so sweet, and he's such a sweet guy, and he might be my favourite character in this show. So yeah, I really enjoyed Danny's performance last night. He was absolutely amazing. Now on to Rhea Naomi as Patty. Weirdly enough, and I hate doing this because I love understudies, I love anyone who's in a show, I love the main people, I love basically anyone who works on a show. Love them, so much respect for them. I might have preferred her Patty over the main actress, and I feel really bad saying that, but I think it's because, I don't know, the understudy made me vibe with the story a bit more. I think you might remember last time I criticised the story a little bit, especially because of Patty's character, thinking, well, why is she here then? You know, she kind of exists to be an anchor to Henry Creel, and that's absolutely fine. Like, it's, you know, whatever. As I said, why couldn't it be someone else, you know? And I feel like the main actress, she wants you to feel sorry for Patty a bit too much. You know, like, she's an orphan, she's the girl from nowhere, and I feel like her performance is a bit too emotional and not really connected that well with Bob, that it just feels a bit out of place. But Rhea Naomi, on the other hand, was just as funny, just as silly, had loads of banter with Bob, who's obviously her brother, pretty much the only family member that actually cares about her and loves her, and their dynamic was incredible. Loved those two together, and she was so blunt and sassy, and I feel like that just worked better as a characterization for her, you know. She bounced off of Bob perfectly, she was always like sassing him, and it was the perfect sort of sibling relationship. And you know, when she's having to bring Henry back down to earth, back to reality, because as I said, she is his anchor, she is what keeps him somewhat sane. I'm not gonna say fully sane, but somewhat sane. And in those moments, she gets so frustrated and so angry, and she's angry at herself, really, because she knows there's nothing that she can do, and she just feels really helpless. So I really loved Rhea Naomi's performance. I thought she was fantastic, and yeah, I really enjoyed this show this time around. So get down there if you can, when you can, because if you are a fan of the Netflix show, which, why would you book tickets if you're not, you know what I mean? But if you are, go see this show because it is absolutely amazing. It's such a good prequel, and you know, there's no continuity breaks, you know what I mean? You think, oh, Bob has a sister, where is she? All of that is answered, don't you worry. But yeah, no, I had a fantastic time last night, and I really love meeting people in the theatre, so meeting up with that girl was really special, and she's here until Thursday, seeing a couple of other shows. So I'm actually really excited for her, and I had a great time once again. So as I said literally just now, I am off to see The Lion King. I'm probably, as I said, going to Waterstones to do some reading, have a little bit of me time, get some lunch, and then we'll be going to the Lion King, which I'm really excited about, so I will see you there.
So you know those days where you wake up late and you feel like crap? Well, that was today, but you know, I tried to make the most of it. I went to Waterstones, sat down, you know, tried to collect myself, have a coffee, read some more, and I did get this very soul healing, soul cleansing little tote bag. And I did end up buying a book after looking around the bookstore for a while. It was actually one of the ones on my wish list. So I'm really happy I bought it because, as I've said many times, I'm trying to get better at reading. I'm making like a log of all of my yearly books. So I'm actually really excited to start, you know, doing it more. And then for lunch, I went to the taco place in Borough Market. This place never gets old. It's one of my favourite food stands in Borough Market. And, well, aside from Applebee's fish, but I digress. And then it was time to head to the Lyceum Theatre. So it's right near Embankment Station, and I was already sobbing walking into this auditorium. It had been 10 years, and like, from my memory at least, like nothing had changed. And I was like right near the front, and this was my seat, and I was just like, this is mental. Like, oh my god, I've actually forgotten the seat number, but I'll just put it in post and show you later. But this was the merch stand, and oh my god, because it was Disney, everything was so expensive, but I did get this really cool 3D pin set of all the lion masks, and it was really cool.
I am extremely sorry that I haven't gotten to you until the interval. I have never consistently cried throughout a show before. It is amazing. It's just as good as I remember it. Puppetry, everything, the actors, it's amazing. And I'm having a great time, and I know I'm going to cry even more. And I got this cute little pin set. They are so unique. They're all the masks that the lion actors wear, and this is just so fun. This is so fun. I haven't been there since I was 10, which sounds mental because I turned 20 last week, and I have no words. Hopefully, once I'm a bit more calm and collected, I can do my proper review on the show at a later date, but for now I'm going to enjoy the rest of it and cry some more, probably. Right, the show ended. It was absolutely just incredible. Like, everyone involved is just, it's mental. It's such a good show, and I hope it runs for as long as it deserves, which is a long time. I'll definitely be going back soon, hopefully sometime this year, because it is just amazing. I was that close that I could see all the details on the costumes, and they're all hand painted, hand sewn, hand beaded, like everything is authentic. Julie Taymor, the costume designer for The Lion King, is like my idol, especially in that sort of field. As much as I love lighting, sound, that sort of thing, I love the costumes. Like, they are wonderful. And getting to see everything so close and so, like, everything is just so detailed. Everything that is on those costumes has a purpose and a meaning, and there's just so many different things that make up this show and make it what it is, and it's just that incredible. And I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I wish I could go back and do it all again, like right now, but I can't because I've got another show. This will be the conclusion of part 2. I will obviously cut right now to me giving my very messy, probably, review of The Lion King, and trust me, there isn't enough to say about this musical. I love it, and yeah, I'll see you back in my hotel room.
Hey guys, it's time to finish part 2 of this 5-part series by talking about The Lion King. I'm finally calm and collected, and I know what's in my brain, so I'm gonna try my best to really praise this show for what it is, because it is that good. Now firstly, I do apologise if I pronounce any of these names wrong, but first of all, I really want to talk about Rafiki for a second. She was played by the beautiful Thenwei. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right because she was incredible. What I notice about Rafiki, obviously, you know, in the cartoon he's very silly and goofy, and she has that, you know. She got a few laughs out of the audience, and she's very good at being silly. She has a wonderful voice, especially during Circle of Life. Her singing and her vocals are incredible, and just everything about her is so intriguing. And going back to that behind the scenes video that I keep on talking about because it's just so good. So they refer to Rafiki as a Sangoma. In South African culture, basically someone who heals and protects and is very spiritually connected and is a spiritual guide and helps people find themselves, which is so... It's such a nice comparison because obviously this show celebrates African culture so much. I think there's like 7 different languages used. I could be wrong on that, but there is a lot of African languages and clothing and costume and themes, and it's just so important to me. But yeah, just everything about her is beautiful and majestic, and honestly, if you think about it, she's kind of maybe more of a main character than, say, Mufasa, you know. She's the one who does help Simba find himself and end up going back to Pride Rock to defeat Scar. She is so important to the story, and I just want to give her some appreciation because she really deserves it. She is phenomenal, and I do like the way her costume is so intricate, and if you look, her feet are actually like baboon feet on shoes, and then she obviously wears the shoes. It's just so clever. I'm going to be talking about the costumes for ages if nobody stops me. This video can't be an hour long, Elliot. Now, Be Prepared was one of my favourite songs from the movie when I was a kid, and George Asprey, who plays Scar, nailed it. I don't want to touch on him too much, but he was really, really good. He was proper Disney villain, and that's what you want for something like this, and he was just absolutely amazing. But he did add some sort of comedy as well, which I thought was really, really funny, and it also balanced out Mufasa's tone quite a bit, you know, and they had a bit of banter, especially with Zazu. I love Zazu, and yeah, George was just absolutely incredible, so scary as Scar, and I just want to give him a shout out because he was amazing. His vocals, presence, stage presence, everything was phenomenal. So Sean Escoffery played Mufasa, and he was absolutely amazing. Even though he doesn't get that much stage time, spoiler alert, he dies, he carried himself well, like, I am the ruler of this land. He had an amazing voice and an amazing relationship with the child actors for Simba and Nala. He added a lot of humour, especially when he's speaking to Zazu and his son, and it was just incredible. And also there's a part before They Live in You, which is Mufasa's little solo, that he sings to Simba. He puts down his lion mask and his swords after fighting the hyenas, and that's like a symbolism for, you know, he's not the king anymore, he's acting as Simba's dad, and I think that symbolism is really, really important. And if you notice, I'm talking about the costumes again, but Mufasa's mask is a full circle and it's very symmetrical, like the sun of the savannah. If you look at Scar's mask, it's very like askew and angular and nothing's really symmetrical and it looks a bit wonky, and that's just to really show the contrast between the two characters, and I love it. But yeah, Sean was amazing. He had great stage presence, great vocals, really, really, like, he was so hard on his son, and you could really tell that he hated being hard on his son, but he just wanted to protect Simba, and that is, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and I loved him. Now, Gary Jordan as Zazu had most of the audience interaction sort of bits, and he was very funny. He's kind of like the comic relief of the show, scratching Timon and Pumbaa for a second, and I really love his costume. It's so good, because he has the Zazu puppet, which apparently is one of the hardest puppets to operate in the show. I don't believe that personally, because it looks easy, but maybe I'm just overconfident. I don't know. But he was really great, and the actor is dressed in all blue, and that's what represents the sky behind the bird, and it's really nice. And obviously he does wear all of the sort of African clothing and authentic cottons and that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure his costume was one of the ones that was hand painted. But then he also has his little bowler hat, and I just think that adds to, like, I don't know, the sort of upper class Britishness of the man, you know, and he's very funny and entertaining, and I absolutely loved him, so points to Gary. Alan McHale and Mark Roger as Timon and Pumbaa, some of my favourite characters. They were incredible. Timon's an asshole. you know, when Simba starts talking about the stars and what his father told him, and Timon just mocks the shit out of him. And also I noticed they added a part which I kind of forgot. Obviously 10 years ago, I'm not going to remember everything, but there is a part where Timon gets put in some kind of danger and Simba doesn't help because he's having like flashbacks to when his father died, and afterwards Timon's like, haha, you couldn't save me, and I'm like, you're a bitch. But that's why I think Timon and Pumbaa work so well together, because Pumbaa's a lot more logical and realistic, and he's sort of Timon's anchor that, you know, keeps him based in some form of reality. But those two were fantastic, so funny, and just everything about them. I love that duo, they're fantastic, and Hakuna Matata. So quickly for the child actors, because these guys are so talented. I saw Emery Zefadma as young Simba, and Kayla Kofi as young Nala. Actually, Kayla, like, I've followed her mother on TikTok, and what a proud mother. She's so lovely and supportive of her daughter, and it's fantastic. But these two child actors were absolutely incredible. I have so much respect for child actors, especially in big West End shows, because it's a huge thing, and they pull it off so well. Their acting was great, their singing was great, and just everything about them was fantastic. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of a shout out, because they are not on stage enough, really, in my opinion, because they are phenomenal, like so talented. I'm going to tie Simba and Nala together when I speak about them. Leono Nchapanda and Meryl Asa, and these two, amazing. They sort of mirrored the child actors and how well they bounce off of each other, especially when they meet up for the first time and they get really excited to see each other, you know. They go back down to being those best friends that you see at the beginning of the show, and it's so powerful. But then obviously, you know, Simba's known the high life for so long that he doesn't want to go back and face it. So, you know, they have their argument. Can you feel the love tonight? Yes. No, but seriously though, both of them mirrored the child actors so well. And obviously that's kind of what you want, because they are playing older versions. Both of their singing voices were absolutely incredible, and both of their costumes. Guys, I'm going to talk about it again. So Simba and Nala's masks, unlike say Mufasa, Sarabi, Scar, they're not full masks. The mask cuts off where the mouth of the lion starts, and say Mufasa's doesn't. It has the full mouth at the front where it sort of comes down, and that just looks so cool, by the way. But the reason they don't have the full lion mask is because they're still young. They're still young and impressionable, and anything can change how they will eventually grow up into a adult lion, and I just think that's really cool. Both of them have lovely solos as well. We've got Shadowland and Endless Night. Endless Night is one of my favourite songs from the Broadway West End musical of The Lion King. Like, it's so good, and both of them added so much emotion to it, and I loved them. I loved them both. They were fantastic. Finally, I am going to talk about the hyenas, because again, some of my favourite characters from the original movie. And for the hyenas, for this afternoon's performance, we had Malone Mackenzie playing Shenzi, Joel Coffett-Campbell playing Banzai, and Mark Tatum playing Ed, and these three were incredible. They have to have so much chemistry on stage together, and they nailed it. And I'm not gonna lie, Malone absolutely mirrored Whoopi Goldberg, which I love, because she's an icon, she is the moment, you know, and these three were just incredible, so funny, so entertaining, and those puppets, my god, they're so good. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this whole show. Everyone was incredible, and yeah, I want to go back again sometime this year. I want to make it happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I want to make it happen. But unfortunately, this is the conclusion of part 2, so I will see you around, and I'll catch you in part 3.